shouldn't need to explain to anyone at this point why Star Wars Battlefront 2 is one of the most beloved Star Wars games, and indeed shooters, of all time. The nostalgia speaks for itself. And well, as shooters tend to be, it's a game where it generally expects you to be making use of at least some level of weapon damage. But what if you wanted to flip the script in a galaxy far, far away that's torn with, well, wars, and see if you can instead achieve peace in a more civilized way?
So uncivilized.
With this question in mind, I decided to try to conquer the galaxy in Star Wars Battlefront 2 on the highest difficulty as a pacifist. And the rules are really simple this run. No killing anything. Yeah. This also includes friendly fire, or if I accidentally delete myself, since these do negatively impact the score and obviously means someone was killed. And I'm not responsible for the actions of my allies, because of course not. However, anything else is free game as long as it doesn't result in me getting a kill. This is easy enough to track too, since there's a score screen after each battle showing our results. In the event we do accidentally get a kill, I have to reset the entire run, as I have obviously upset the balance of the force at that point, and it would be impossible to make amends. Side note before we begin, this run was heavily inspired by that guy Prez after watching a Master Chief his way through the galaxy in his Battlefront 2 Deathless runs, so I highly recommend checking that out after this as well. And hey, if you enjoy absurd challenges that make me suffer, or simply like me, why not subscribe? I have a lot of utterly ridiculous videos planned for this year, and it helps me out a ton as a creator. You can always unsubscribe later if you so choose. But with that out of the way, let's dive into the chaos. For those of you who had a decent childhood and played Battlefront before, you'll probably see a couple problems with this run right away. For those of you unaware, there are two types of battle in Battlefront 2, space battles and planetary invasions. Planetary battles are simple enough to deal with, as the win conditions for them are you either capture all the command posts or delete the enemy supply located at the top. However, space battles function a bit differently. Instead, their only goal is to reach the 180 points required before your opponent, which presents a bit of a problem in the fact that I can't kill enemy fighters that add to the score, making space battles a bit of a worry to say the least. Add in the computer's questionable flying skills, and well, you'll see. Fortunately, we can usually still get quite close to the points threshold by disabling parts of the ship, which don't actually kill anything as far as I'm aware of, as long as we just ignore the giant explosion after the battle and assume we are taking war prisoners. Anyways, so really the only question that we need to ask right now is which faction would be best to start off with between the Republic, Empire, Confederacy, and the Rebellion. And really, Confederacy is probably the best choice. There's a few reasons for this. One is that, well, droidekas exist. They tend to just melt the AI without any input from me, and sometimes I'll get lucky enough they will rush a command post, rolling in and capturing it, or at least just really pissing off the AI. Plus, I just like the Robo-Boys, and technically, if I was to play as the clones and fight the bots, this would technically be a pacifist run no matter what, as I can't unalive something unalived. So once we got our boys, next we get our first choice, what to do with our initial credits, and there's really only one choice for us in a pacifist run. The engineer gets access to a blaster pistol, a C4 pack, a plasma torch, and a supplies dispenser. And while we can't use the C4 or the blaster pistol, the ability to repair vehicles and replenish our health as we tank our way through areas is a godsend for the run. And so we get this thing going at Polis Massa, where my uncontrollable bloodlust gets me distracted for a sec because I almost forgot what run we're doing. After trudging ahead and taking our enemies from the rear, I begin causing chaos in what can only be described as kicking a beehive, with every trooper getting pissed and taking aim, intending to send me back to the scrap heap. Luckily, this corner exists, where we can tank for a bit, as it's just within the command post range, and chat with our best friend this run, Corporal Gonk. He's important for two reasons. One, he refills our supplies, meaning we can stand near him and keep throwing down Bacta to replenish our health. And two, he can be our meat shield. Since we have a plasma torch, we can keep him constantly repaired and duck behind them while we continue to act as target practice for a platoon of clones as they eventually get overrun by allied forces. I should probably come up with another name for them. And boom, 0 kills. This may be dumb, but hey, if it works, then a win's a win. With our turn complete, it's the clones next, and they attack Geonosis. We go ahead and start the same process again of kicking the hive and continue to be live target practice. This was a terrible idea. After only a couple minutes, we're the last man standing against 23 clones with no means of attacking while they still have a tank. But call me stubborn, or maybe just dumb, as I keep running around grabbing command posts in an attempt to postpone what can only be the inevitable, when something weird happens. The clone supply is still dropping. So it's probably a good time to talk about something. You see, on several planets across the galaxy, there lives indigenous species that have allegiances to each playable faction based off of the in-universe canon, such as the Wookiees of Kashyyyk helping the clones, or the Ewoks helping the rebels. And in our case, we were playing as the Separatists, so the Geonosians, or the bug creatures flying around, happen to be allied with us. Meaning as long as we can stay alive and don't lose all our command posts, they will eventually eliminate the remaining clones. And so, after 10 minutes of running around, we grab all the command posts and win by a technicality, since C3 clones decided that their tank is better than the planet, though not that I could really blame them. With the credits we received for defending our capital planet, we now have enough to buy the Droideka before we take on our first space battle. And I won't really deep dive into space battles too much this run, since they are pretty much the same destroy the enemy ship, but I will say when we had a space battle and show the subsequent score screen, just to keep the run honest and the video moving. Afterwards, we had to Dagobah next, and I was ready to show off the Droideka. However, my excitement quickly disappeared as I forgot one important thing. And that is that we need 12 points to be able to use them. Something I don't get a lot of for obvious reasons. As I cry in a corner over this, there's still a bit of good news. I had used the enhanced blaster bonus for this battle to give our allies the best shot, which seems to be paying off. So I continue to make myself useful by seeing how I look as Swiss cheese. And eventually, we're able to capture all the command posts while the last clone gets off screen somewhere. It's the clone's turn again, and they try attacking Geonosis again, where they use the energy boost bonus so they can have the energy to die that much quicker. We also catch up with now Sergeant Gonk for his outstanding performance as a tank. With another stimulus check of 1,000 credits for defending our capital planet, we go ahead and buy both the Assault and Assassin Droid classes to deal with enemy tanks and long-range snipes respectively, and head to Naboo next. Now, in every challenge run, there's a moment that rises above and beyond the rest of the run in difficulty, complexity, and just being a complete pain in the ass. And that's Naboo. Because almost immediately they start wiping my troops off the face of the Earth. So maybe diversifying my forces wasn't such a great idea. Well, too late now. And so after only 3 measly minutes, we're back to being what is becoming a very normal occurrence of the run, of being the only troop remaining. This time in a 1v35 and with no bug backup since the clones brought the raid. Honestly, I was at a bit of a loss as to what to do next, and for a brief moment, I thought about calling it on the run. But I quickly pushed those thoughts aside because I'm not gonna bitch out like Anakin did when he didn't get his masters. And besides, this blessed bastard of a clone gave me an idea. I may not be able to commit mass murder, but much like the Jedi found out, these guys sure are. So I spend the next 40 minutes engaging in jolly cooperation with the boys as they attempt to shoot, blow up, and even run me over in what is now going in my top 10 things I'd never want to do again folder. I may have also used a tank as an explosive return delivery service to help speed up the process after I discovered this corner of those who were driven to insanity by my antics, since it didn't add to my kill counter. If you think this invalidates the run, however, there's a dislike button with your name on it. We play a game of hide and seek behind this tank until we eventually claim all the command posts and somehow manage to win a 1 versus 35 fight without getting a single kill. Well, that was hell. And we're only halfway done. Great. This is followed by the clones attacking Geonosis once again. They had a bad time. They did at least get out of their tank this time, so that's progress. The extra credits received from defending Geonosis meant I had most of our units purchased, and we can now start stocking up on all the bonuses we'd ever need to help boost our allies into a passable military power. We buy the enhanced blasters to deal with smaller maps so we can overwhelm the boys, back to tanks for when I need to pull enemy fire and tank, and the sabotage bonus for when engaging in space battles to weaken enemy fighters so our squad can score some extra points to help reach the point threshold. And judging from our allies' scores in the next space battle, it seemed to help. After that, we head to Camino next. With our robo-buddies dealing with things outside, I run off into the cloning facility because I don't like the big wet, and now I have a whole platoon on me. But unfortunately for them, grenades still don't discriminate. And after a few droidicos roll up and grab the last couple command posts, there wasn't much else to do, so I fucked around playing support like in my old Overwatch days. I was a Mercy main for anyone wondering.
Oh no.
We head to Tatooine next, as I was finally getting tired of them invading Geonosis anytime they would build a fleet there. And wanting to be the good friend I am, I dropped into the bar to share a few drinks with the boys. With these credits, I finally build a second fleet over Naboo, so I don't have to deal with that nightmare again, and just in time. However, this is when we run into an issue. This dingus decided it was a great idea to fly right in front of a torpedo as I started my bombing run on the enemy capital ship. And unfortunately, I actually didn't even notice this until after I had thought I had completed the run and started to edit, meaning I wasted several hours for nothing. Luckily, things play out almost exactly the same as our first time, as we start on the same planet and follow the same route. We chill at the shooting range at Polis Massa, let the giant cockroaches take care of our clone problem for us, and give our teammates some hands-on demolition experience. Shit. On our third go-around, we start over Geonosis this time, so I go ahead and tackle Tatooine first, just due to how fucking annoying it was getting to defend a bunch of bugs. But this might have been a mistake. Apparently I had pissed away all my good luck on my first run, because we were immediately solo commander again, this time without the benefit of us having a tank or roaches to back us up, and the Jawas are actually making it worse since they keep repairing the damn turrets. This was, as you can imagine, a massive pain in the ass. However, Lieutenant Gonk is still willing to put his neck out on the line for us. Well, figuratively speaking anyways. And given enough time, he solved the problem for me in the most American way I can think of, with guns, grenades, and alcohol, as the clones seem to have developed a drinking problem, what with all the grenade cocktails from the bar. And this only takes a cool and easy 30 minutes. After another space battle, this time without me getting any assist on my teammates, because, well, they don't really need any help with that, we're back to Camino, where not much actually happens as we kind of just dominate it. But it does give me enough credits to finally unlock the assault droid again, so that's a thing. And of course, the clones attack Geonosis again, where we lose. And I'm officially really lost now. I've had plenty of battles up to this point where our supply was stuck at 1 for over half an hour. And hell, I just thought it was only me, and that as long as I didn't die or lose all the command posts, we couldn't lose. But apparently that's not always the case. My best guess on this is that sometimes, for whatever reason, there may actually be more troops on the field than what the counter shows. So this not only confused me, but also meant that I can't be for certain that I can just lone survivor my way through anymore, putting me on a clock and adding a bit of anxiety for the rest of the run. And unfortunately, the crap don't stop there. With the clones capturing Geonosis, they get a huge load of credits, which means their forces will be buffed up even more going forward. This is all coupled with us going back to Naboo next, and we all know how well that went last time. But as we dive in, I look around and realize why I might have had such a hard time. For whatever reason, our bots absolutely refuse to use any of the vehicles here, while the clones, well, do. And while there isn't much I can do to improve the AI of a game almost old enough to drink, it was at this moment that I realized I'm an idiot, and I had it all but forgotten probably the most useful, useless weapon that's been staring me right in the face. You see, the engineer's fusion cutter doesn't just repair, but also allows you to hack into them, kicking out anyone inside and disabling the vehicle for a few seconds without harming anyone. This is honestly normally pretty useless, since it's easier and more time efficient to just blow it up, and the hacking puts you uncomfortably close to something that can blow a hole through you. But in this case, it's actually pretty useful, because it means we can kick out the clones, spam the enter button to beat them back inside, and then watch as they learn about physics. And so with this in mind now, we run around and start hijacking the ATRTs from the clones like we're playing Grand Theft Auto, which combined with the poor souls getting trapped in the purgatory corner, makes for a much easier Naboo this time around. This also means I could have been using this strat this entire time, and made my life a hell of a lot easier, but you guys seem to enjoy my torment, so a happy accident I guess. With Naboo back under our control, we engage in another space battle, and finally get our first fight on Mustafar, which is not only my favorite map because, well, lava, but we also get a chance to let our droid buddies take a relaxing dip in the local hot springs. Go ahead guys, you deserve it. Unfortunately, we too are not long for this world, simply because not much happened. What do you think I was gonna say? And we head back to Dagobah next, where I used the back to tank bonus because, well, honestly I can't remember why, which was a massive mistake, mainly because I kept having bullet accidents. And despite my attempts for sticking in this cave to promote clone-on-clone violence, like a mound of angry fire ants, because I can't say what a bunch of white things coming out of a hole sounds like on YouTube, the clones pour out, and I'm left stranded on the planet once more. So not wasting any time, I lure as many clones as possible to chase me around this gunship, while Captain Gonk keeps track of how many laps I do, and let me tell you, it's about like watching NASCAR. And that's to say, I kept making left turns. Eventually, and I do mean eventually, the clones whittle themselves down to the last guy, where I then clutch the world's most dangerous game of hot potato. We invade Kashyyyk next, which I was honestly a bit worried for. Similar to how the bug boys helped me on Geonosis, the walking carpets here help the clones out. But unlike the bugs who tend to fly around getting stuck in corners, these fuzzballs are much more grounded and about as deadly as they are hairy. But tanks are still a thing, and so I sit back and enjoy the carnage as the clones continue to fail their AA goals. And after driving my patience and another space battle, we eventually make it to Felucia. I sprint on over for a local meet and greet, and it's at this point that I had my first real run-in with the clone snipers. And I don't like them, simply because they make capturing command post an ass in my pain and melt my health bar quicker than when Anakin tried to swim in lava. But after recruiting some meat shields, help, we head back, and a tank rolls in, and oh my god, now the screen won't stop shaking. Yavin's up next, and even in a normal playthrough, this is usually one of the hardest maps just because of the AI's ability to map hack from these towers and rain down literal hell from above. However, this didn't happen. I have no idea why, nor am I going to question the blessings of the RNG goddess today. So after committing a few acts of grand larceny by stealing some tanks, I capture all the command post and stare longingly at this clone as we force a victory. The clones gifted us with another fireworks show, and my Gito's next, and it knows how to keep things simple, as it's the simple things a man can truly enjoy, such as the boys and his toys. So time to enjoy a cruise, as the haters get theirs. Speaking of haters, the clones attack Mustafar again, and much like the first time, we bunker down behind our Lord and Savior Gonkers. Well, mostly Savior. Coruscant's up next, and clearly the Force was done with my shit at this point, as everything went really well for like maybe a minute, and then it all went to hell. Command post after command post I lost, and by the time it was said and done, the only thing I had left was that one true friend, someone who had been with us since the beginning. Unfortunately, this isn't a Kingdom Hearts game, and even the power of friendship is not going to be enough this time. But not to worry, after being blown away by another space battle, I try once more. But if there's one thing this run has taught me, it's that if you have enough friends beside you, anything is possible. And so on my third attempt, that's what I do. I put my friends first. I know, it's pretty selfless, but it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make because no cost is too high when it comes to my friends and what I want. And then this clone learns in life that you don't always get what you want, and you can sometimes spin in circles getting nowhere. With Coruscant down, we only have one remaining planet. But first, and as if on cue for wanting to waste what little sanity I still have, the clones give us one final space battle. That's 8 minutes I'll never get back. And so finally at the end, by the will of the Force, or more like how Disney seems to think the Force works, we'll be finishing the run exactly where we started. Hey there, it's Cody from the Edit here. While I try sneaking my way to a win in a similar manner to Solid Snake, I'd like to remind you that I'm all about weird, stupid, and utterly ridiculous challenges like this. So if you're wanting more chaos, make sure you check out my other videos and subscribe to stay up to date. Who knows? I might come up with an even more bizarre way to beat the game next time. But before we can end this, we need to pay one last visit to our brother in arms. Don't worry, buddy, you're not going down. I try hijacking one last tank as the timer counts down, verify the final score screen, and prove that yes, you can conquer the Star Wars galaxy just as the Jedi always intended. Like a pussy. If you enjoyed the video or learned anything, leave a like. And leave a dislike if you didn't enjoy the video, but still managed to watch all the way to the end for some reason. Also, remember to check out that guy Prez's Galactic Conquest series, where he does the exact opposite and instead John Wicks the entire galaxy. But now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go milk some other content for you guys. Cheers!